fresh out the oven.
What is crackin', everybody? It's Mega Pieman here, and welcome to another look at my map for King of the Hill Synthetic Alpha 4, which is, of course, the fourth version of my map, King of the Hill Synthetic. Not as drastic a changes in this version as there was in the last version. One of the main things that I tried to do was lighten the map up a little bit. I got some feedback that there were some dark areas, and some people were having issues telling team colors when it came to specific parts of the map. So I messed around with the lighting, changed up the sun spread angle, disabled the shadows for a couple of things, like these fences. You generally want to disable shadows when it comes to these kinds of fences and whatnot, when it comes to Team Fortress 2, because they can be a little bit wonky and make things look kind of weird. So there's no more shadows on those fences, which will hopefully keep areas bright enough that it's not as much of an issue, or an issue anywhere, to tell team colors, especially down here where you're completely underground. So it doesn't seem to me like it should be an issue. That's an issue right there, that's a different color. It's taking a lighting origin from a different place. That's just a small visual glitch. That's not a real big problem, so I don't have to worry about that right now. One of the big things that I did work on is I worked on the point some more. I'm still not completely happy with it. I added this hexagon thing. It's ugly as sin, but I did that to try to put a little bit more height on the main point. I got some feedback of someone saying that the point didn't really feel like a point because they were both attacking and defending at the exact same time, and I'm like, that's kind of like what you're supposed to do. But I did change that, so the capture area is now that exact hexagon. It looks ugly as sin. It really, really does. But visuals are not really what I'm focused on right now. I'm focused on layout. So how it looks is not important. The important thing is how it plays. And speaking of how things play, I changed up this area again. I basically got rid of all of the cover for this up top spot, so that anybody who's up here is at a big disadvantage. You can't just crouch jump up here either. You still have to rocket jump. That's why I added these little lips on the thing, just to make sure you can't, like, scout, double jump, crouch jump up here, because I still don't want that to happen. You can still go from a scout to go from here to over there. But I was taking a look at King of the Hill Arctic, and the feedback that I had gotten from the previous version of the map that I made. And this map is it's inspired by King of the Hill Arctic, if you've ever played that map. And what it has as at its points, it's got like a granary thing with those shipping containers. And it works because there's no cover up there, which makes it very high risk, high reward of an area. There's no cover, so if you get up there, you have the height advantage, but you have the cover disadvantage. So it's kind of what I'm trying to replicate at the moment. I think before I had a little bit too much cover, but I still have some cover. I added this path back here. So instead of having to do some fancy going around this way, you can now safely walk into this room, and then safely walk out here. Well, I guess it's not 100% safely, because it does leave you open to snipers! Everybody's favorite friend, snipers. Which is actually on purpose to try to give snipers, again, more of a reason to go to this side of the map again, so that they have more to do again. So they can go over here, they can snipe people who are going through this area. They shouldn't be able to see too far. I actually might change which of these windows I have open. I couldn't decide if I wanted this window open or I wanted this window open. We'll get some playtesting going on. You see, with the window open that it is right now, you can see into the door that goes into that room. But if I close that window, then it has cover, and open the other window, then there's not really any cover for anybody who's going from the open outside area to go in. Right now, there's that spot in between the window and the open outside area where you have cover. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure how this is going to work. But I like it, but I'm not sure how it's going to play. I also put these containers up here, so instead of before where you had to kind of go, you went down on a little bit of angled geometry, now you have this nice flat geometry, and you can build sentries up here. Last time, the reason why I had that angled geometry is because I didn't want people building sentries, but I feel like this is so open now that if you try to build a sentry up here, it's probably going to die almost immediately. But that's it for changes to the main point area. The only other thing that I really changed, other than that, was I changed spawn again. Hopefully this time it's actually good. What I did is, again, people are still having issues realizing that, hey, this part of the map exists. So now they should have no issues. You spawn here. In this area, there's nothing. There's no wall here anymore to block the sight to this door. And I made these windowed doors as well. I don't remember if I did that last time, but I did it this time. So now you can see through the doors. So you can see through the doors, and you can see through this, but enemies can't see in, but you can always see out. So you have that going for you. But now you spawn in, that's the wrong team color! Unplayable! Completely, utterly unplayable. Ah, freaking terrible mappers and their horrible games, and oh, it's ruined. It's just ruined. But you spawn in here, you'll be like, oh, there's a door this way. I wonder what's over here. Oh, there's an arrow. I can see it before I go that way, so I know that I'm going to go this way. Oh, there's a place. Oh, there's a thing. Oh, look, there's a whole map over here. Hopefully, finally, that will get people to actually go to this side of the map when I watch a playtest over on tf2maps.net, which is where I'm doing all my playtesting, because that's the only website that I know of that does that kind of a thing, and I'm not popular enough to be able to have my own server, let alone afford it, and get my own playtesting done, unlike some other mappers. But they'll spawn here, they'll see both doors, they can make their decisions of where they want to go, so on and so forth. I also rounded out these areas here, so that they don't cause weird angle issues, and then I used clip brushes to square them off. So you shouldn't get stuck on them. Apparently previously people were trying to walk up these and they kept getting stuck. But now you shouldn't be able to walk up it at all, you just walk into it like it was a square block. I like these things. They're going to be concrete, textured, if I ever get to that point where I'm texturing things. I'm going to see if I can round them off a little bit more. I'm not very good at rounding things off. That's one of the things with Source. When it comes to brushwork, Source isn't great at circles. It's good with squares. Source is great with squares and boxes. But when it comes to angles and circles, it's not amazing. You generally want to use props when it comes to circles, but I don't really think this needs a prop, really. I just need to, you know, make it not look like crap. From this angle, it looks okay. But from this angle, it looks a little bit finicky. Looks a little bit too blocky. So it all depends if I even keep that going forward. But yeah, hopefully that will now get people to actually use a majority of the map. And hopefully, with the changes to the point, even though the point is ugly as all get out, will make it so that there's much more of a back and forth. With a King of a Hill map, you want a back and forth. You do not want one team to grab the point and then own it for the whole dang thing. A game like Overwatch, as example, has a lot of their control point maps, as they call it, which is, it's King of the Hill. It's freaking King of the Hill, call it King of the Hill. But a lot of their control point maps, or control area maps, are pretty much one team captures the point, and then they hold it, and that's game. That is not what you want to happen. You want teams to constantly be fighting over it. You want the point to change hands as often as possible. Now, sometimes that's not up to the map. Sometimes that's up to the players to actually do that. It's up to the team that doesn't own the point to actually capture the point. But I'm doing everything I can from a map perspective to try and make that back and forth happen. So when I look at the feedback results from tf2maps.net from a playtest and see what team won how many times, what team lost how many times. I don't see red team with 5 wins and blue with 0. You want to have as even of a match as possible. Now, statistically in Team Fortress 2, blue team loses more than red. From what I remember, there's somebody who keeps that statistic. That's what I heard, that blue team has just a slightly less winning advantage, not advantage, but less winning statistics than red team. So maybe that's okay, but this is a symmetrical map, so it shouldn't really be a problem. It kind of is okay when it comes to asymmetrical maps like Payload and Attack and Defense, but this is symmetrical, so it shouldn't have that difference since both sides are the same. And we will see if it plays the way I wanted to, or when I talk to you guys about A5. So, thanks for watching. I'm Megaplanman PhD. There'll be more videos like this and quick peeks and other stuff whenever I get them done, coming out in the near future. And I will talk to you guys later.